But now I'm going to hell because I miss church on Sundays. Because now I'm not worthy of God's love. Not that I don't believe God exists, and not that I ever did. It's a matter of I don't think I'm worthy. Barely in the truck, and he grabs my neck and chokes me out, and I didn't know what to do. I'm blacking out, and I'm almost gone. I'm almost out of this world. And then it reminds me, I have 2 horses at home and a dog. And if I go, he wins. And I was like, help, I'm giving birth or I'm having a miscarriage. Doesn't respond. Next thing you know, birthed a little boy out in the shower.
The power you seek lies within you, as we are each infinite beings living a human experience. The truth of who and what we are has been hidden from us until now. Awaken, my friends, to this new reality that we are in fact creating everything through the power and the gift of our wonderful imagination. Join me as I unlock the secrets of our past and reveal the truth that has been clouded in this veil we call life. What reality will you choose to create today? The choice is yours. Welcome, my friends, to My Reality Practice. Welcome, everybody, and thanks for joining me today on the Reality Practice Podcast. I'm your host, Joey Kramer, and today's guest is Dusty Simmers. Dusty is a woman on a mission. She has truly been to hell and back and is now using her experience to help women around the world become their bold and authentic self and to heal from their past traumas. Dusty understands the crippling effect trauma can have on a person's life, and she shares her journey in hopes of helping women find the courage to live boldly and authentically in life. On the brink of suicide, she overcame abusive relationships, drug addictions, giving birth to her first baby in the shower, and then losing another child after only 3 months fighting for his life. She now comes from a place of understanding in order to help others find the light within them, as she has lived in the same dark places that so many of us are stuck inside. So without further delay, let's bring on my beautiful friend, Dusty Simmers, to the show. Welcome, Dusty.
Thank you, Joey. I'm so excited to be here. It's a pleasure.
I'm excited to have you on the show. You know, we've discussed quite a bit in the past here, and I can't wait for you to share your journey, share your story. It's really impactful. It's got its ups and it's got its really far downs. I think a lot of people will connect, especially the women audience will connect to this, but men too have a lot to learn, from your story, from your journey, and now where you're at, which I can't wait to get into as well. You're doing the what is it? The helping horse. You're working with horses, and yes, horse to heart connection is where your focus is at now. So we'll dive into that. But really, I want to start off by just kind of hearing about your journey, hearing about your story, going back and where it all began. We all start somewhere, and the things that build us into who we are usually some of the most traumatic things that could happen to us. So I'd love for you to share your journey, and then we'll dive deep into it and kind of see where you're at now. So take it away, Dusty.
Perfect. I appreciate that. So I'm 6 years old and I get my first horse. Exciting, right? It's like this huge, amazing, accomplishment. It's something that I love and I'm passionate about. Well, I'm playing on the playground with horses. I'm all excited about my horse, and everyone starts making fun of me, and they're calling me Sugar Bojo. And even one of the teachers were calling me by that, which they didn't mean anything mean by it. It was just, that's what I did. So you fast forward from that, and now I'm in 4th grade. I'm 9 years old and I start rodeoing. I love it. I am so passionate about it. It's my life. But now I'm going to hell because I miss church on Sundays. I'm 9 years old. I don't know any better, right? I take that in because I don't know. I'm already struggling with the fact that my mom and sister have a better relationship. My sister's smaller built than me. I'm this big, I'm a bold energy at a young age, right? And I'm just a big, like everything. Like I'm stout. I've just always been stout. I'm tall. And people now say I'm going to hell. I don't understand. I'm so young. I don't understand. And I don't say anything because, well, who's going to listen, right? Or who's going to help me? Because now I'm not worthy of God's love. Not that I don't believe God exists, and not that I ever did. It's a matter of I don't think I'm worthy. So let's fast forward the next year, and my grandma, who was in my corner forever, passes away suddenly. Now I feel like I lost my person because my sister has my mom, my brother has my dad, and I just lost my person. So as I go through my journey and we keep trickling on, we hit middle school and high school. And I never really dated anybody or felt like I deserved to date somebody because either maybe they were in that religion that, I'm going to hell, so I can't take them with me, right? Because they're good religious people. Like they're good people. Like they're so nice and they're so kind. But I can't take them down. I can't be the reason that they go to hell too, because that's kind of what would happen, right? So then I fast forward into high school, and it's my later high school years, and I dated some guys I probably shouldn't have dated that never really like truly loved me. Kind of caught me into having sex when I wasn't ready for it. Like they're like, oh no, you're so good. And they bribed me with gifts and flowers and all this kind of stuff and made me feel like somebody loved me. I finally felt like someone loved me, but there was so much mental and even physical and sexual abuse at different times that I just didn't know how to process. And I just thought, well, this is what I deserve. This is what I'm worthy of, right? Like, this is what you get. You're going nowhere. You're fat, you're ugly, you're not worthy of God's love. So this is what you get. This is what you deserve. Let's fast forward now where I'm in my 20s and I finally get a good relationship, but I self-sabotage it because what do? Like, I don't deserve this, right? So self-sabotage that. Next thing you know, I have an option between a good guy and a bad guy, and I choose the bad guy, right? Like he's had a rough past, but I can help fix him, right? Like I don't deserve the good guy, so I go down this road. That relationship turns abusive and is to the point of abuse of where I'm selected as one of 12 trainers in the nation for a barrel horse competition, where I was supposed to take an off the track racehorse for 100 days, retrain this horse, and then compete in Ohio. I'm one of the only two on this side of the Mississippi. The other one was clear up in Michigan. So I'm on like West Coast, only one on the West Coast, right? I'm excited. I have a great horse. Everything's going well. He doesn't like the attention that I was getting. I have to quit my job. There's fights going on at home. If, I'm having dinner on the table, but by the time he gets home from work, he's taking all the money. He's got the phone that's on. He's using my truck. It's just a mess, right? It's a mess. It's a shit show. But I don't know how to get out. He's getting mad at me for different things. He's choking me in the car. One time he was trying to fight with me in my friend's yard. And I was like, let's just go home. We get in the truck, barely in the truck, and he grabs my neck and chokes me out and like shoves me behind my seat because it's one of those single cabs that have like a little bit of room behind the seat. And I didn't know what to do. I'm blacking out and I'm almost gone. I'm almost out of this world. And then it reminds me, I have 2 horses at home and a dog. And if I go, he wins. And what is he going to do to my animals? So I snapped back and I stayed there and I just backed up. And I was like, okay. Then he tries to speed through stop signs and stoplights all the time and trying to roll my truck because he's like, well, if I can't have you, nobody can have you. It's a mess, but I don't know how to get out, right? Like, I don't know where to go. I don't know what's safe. Nobody believes me. Everyone thinks that, oh, you should just get out. It's easy for you to get out. It's your fault this is happening. You don't know what's going on behind closed doors. It's to the point to, I have to slap him when he's choking me just to kind of like wake him up or whatever so he lets go. Or like I was in the room a couple of times and he got mad at me for I don't even know what. And he had me up against the bedroom door and had me choked up against it and just punched all the way around my head. And I'm like, this is the day I die, right? Like, this is the day I die. So very abusive. I'm going to bed at night thinking, God, I survived this day. I'm waking up in the morning praying to God, this is not the day I die. What if no one finds me? What if I'm in a hospital and you can't even recognize me? Like, you don't even know who I am. I'm beat to, and who's going to know? Like, could take a week. It could take, who knows? My family might not even know when or where I am, right? So there's all this fear and all this and this, I don't know what to do and how to get out. So I lose my truck and I walk away from the property I had. But in the mix of all this, when I know I'm fixing to lose my truck and I'm fixing to have to walk away from my property and I know I'm not going to the training competition anymore, he has the phone with service because he's working. So my phone doesn't have service. So I walk across the desert. Can't make this up. So I'm walking from my house. My house is over here. The neighbors is over here. And there's like a road that goes like this. But I just kind of like walked through the desert because it was like, whatever. And it's a hot summer day, July of 2013. And I mean, I'm filled with shame and guilt and yuck. Like, I'm going to go steal Wi-Fi from a neighbor that I don't even know. I needed to get a hold of somebody to help me, right? Like I needed a friend to come because I needed away for a minute. I needed a break. He's at work. I need something. I need out, right? So call her up and she comes and she says, okay, I'll be on my way. I'm walking back. And at this time, guys, I don't have a relationship with God right now. I still think I'm going to hell. I've been in this crappy relationship. I don't deserve it, right? I don't deserve his love. It's not that he's not there. It's I'm not worthy. I'm not good enough, right? So as I'm walking back, I remember like looking straight up at the sky and like my whole body was just like, not like warm from the sun. Like obviously it's hot. It's outside of Las Vegas and it's a summertime. So it's hot, but like my body was like light and warm and I knew it was God. And he said, you're going to go through a lot before you're 30. But your journey is going to inspire other women that they can too. You're going to achieve your dreams after 30, but it might get a little rocky. That's a short version of it, but I knew it was him. And I looked up and I said, I know it's you. And that's when I knew in my heart of hearts that that's what I was going to use the name Beautiful Outlaws for, was in that moment. So fast forward a few weeks later, I finally get out. In that time of me leaving and before I moved, my family and friends, like, no one knows what to say. And they're like, you should have just left sooner. You should have done this. You should have done that. Well, you said you could go get a job at this one place and you could live here. Okay, first off, nobody knows what's going on behind closed doors. Nobody understands. I feel like nobody gets me. I feel like I'm lost. I feel like I don't even know who I am anymore. Like, I don't even know. So here it is. I'm working at this ranch with these teens, making a huge impact in their life. And they think I'm awesome. Like I'm achieving all these cool things and like I'm a hard worker and they're the coolest woman they ever see. And now they're looking at their babysitters that they abuse, like they were hooking up with and their moms and everything, like they're looking at all these different women in their lives differently because of my work ethic and how I treated them, right? Like in this strong, bold, powerful woman, right? Like, so they respected me, which was helping them respect the other women in their life. And it was amazing. But I felt like shit inside. Because you don't know what I just went through. I'm not all this stuff that you guys think I am. Like, no. So it's weighing on me. So fast forward to Christmas Eve of 2013, I go to Vegas and I sell most of my horses. I've already leased one of my good horses. I had a friend take her for a while, but I got rid of the rest because I was like, I'm gone. I'm done. Like, I gotta go. And I bought a plane ticket to my aunt in Kansas. I don't even know this aunt really. Like I've met her like once or twice and like for a family reunion. It's not even like we have a really good relationship. Like we've just talked on the phone or on Facebook Messenger and stuff, but we don't have a good relationship. But I needed to change. I needed something new. I needed to find me. So I go to Kansas and Kansas is not everything I thought it was going to be, but it was good for me. Like it allowed me to just kind of flow. But I'm sitting here like, I ain't messing up again. Like, I ain't going home yet. Like, I got to figure something else out. I am doing something else. I'm going to make it through this because I just cannot go home with my tail between my legs. I just can't do it. They'll just all think I'm a failure again. I've already failed once, right? Can't do it again. So I ended up in Oklahoma riding barrel horses and I was roping on the side. This led me to meeting another gentleman that I went and rode for. I went and rode rope horses for him, and then we became very close. And we were helping each other through our we both were going through our own trauma, our own shit. He helped me through a lot. Like the holidays and stuff were really hard for me in 2014. Like I'm hyperventilating. I'm depressed. I'm sad. I feel like crap. It's my first time away from my family. They're all together doing their stuff, having fun. And I'm by myself with basically people I just met, a few months ago. But we made the best of it, and he had my back. Like, I'm hyperventilating and like broken. And he's like, how does it feel that somebody loves you? Right. Like he broke into those walls and into that stuff and became my best friend and became everything, and more of a relationship formed. And I believed everything he said. He was still married and it was a mess. And I mean, a lot of shame and guilt for even that for me. Like, I felt yucky. Right.
Hmm.
So as we go through, and that I was there from 2014 until 2018. And through this, like, it was a lot of ups and downs. Like, sometimes it was really good and sometimes it was really bad. I started using drugs, just as like fun, like for fun, right? Like a little more than just drinking kind of fun. And then it became to where I was using drugs to manage my workload, to be able to help take work off of his plate. So then that way I felt like, this is my belief. I don't know, like, we all have our own like ways of seeing things, right? So in my eyes, I believe that if I help do everything I need to do, cook, clean, take care of the horses, take care of the cows, ride if we needed to ride, catch horses if we needed them, get the steers up to rope, wrap them, whatever, help him in the barn, do whatever he needed to do while we were building the barn. If I could do anything he needed me to do or help do to take weight off of him or take stress off or whatever, then we could rope more and I could get more practice and I could learn more, or we could have more time together, like something, because I don't have any friends really. Like, we have mutual friends and that's it. Like, I don't have anybody of my own. I was quarantined before quarantine was cool, basically. Like, that's what I did, stayed on the ranch. And so, going through all this, like I said, there was ups and downs. One time I remember leaving because it had gotten pretty abusive. And so, like, I got beat with a stick, and like we were just fighting a lot, and it wasn't good. Like, beat with a good stick, and it was like that big. And I lied. I kept telling her, I was like, oh no, like those bruises, it's from a horse accident. I don't know how you get bruises like that, like little round bruises from a horse all over your body, because it doesn't happen. But I just was like, it's just a horse accident. I think I might even said he ran through trees or something, like just ran off in the trees. But I don't have scratches on my face, so not sure how that happened. But if you're in abuse, you make up stories, you make up things to make you feel better or to make the situation better, because you don't know what to do. So you're trying to like find your way around it, right?
Right.
Having everybody else involved, you're going to make a little bit up sometimes. Kind of helps you feel a little bit better too, right?
You're embarrassed by it.
For
It's
sure.
hard. You feel like people wouldn't understand. So
100%.
you definitely make up whatever story you feel that they're going to accept so that you can continue living that life that you think you need.
For sure. And you want everything to still look good on the outside, right? Because everything in the inside and everything like behind closed doors isn't good, right? So I tried to leave once and I ended up coming back, but in the mix of me leaving, like at one point he chased my horse around because I had my horse tied up and untied it and chased it around. It was a mess. And then get my horse loaded and I'm headed out. And then he tried to just shoot at me. He's shot at me a couple of times, like never shot at me, I guess, but shot the ground around me. That's close enough. Like, that's too close. But I came back because I felt like, because he was saying, oh, she stole stuff from us, like stole her saddle, stole her tack, and I was like, I didn't steal anything. I didn't do anything. But I didn't know, like, I'm still like a mess because I came a mess. Like, it's not that I like turned into a mess when I was there. No, I came a mess because I'm like at my rock bottom before, right? So it was just a pile on. So I was like, oh no, I gotta go back. I gotta go make things right. Da, da, da. So I did. And then life's still like this, right? It was 2016. Fast forward the next year, I know like things aren't good, but I'm having a good swing. Like, April into the summer has been pretty decent for the most part. I'm roping probably the best that I ever roped. I feel good on a horse. Life is good. I rope probably some of the fastest I've roped. Like, I just feel good. Like, and so then comes like the fall time, and I cut my finger off on a table saw. Like, I was like trying to make a dog bed and it like jerked and it cut the tip of my finger off. And so I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, it's fine. I didn't go to the doctor or anything, like, cause it was just a tip, it wasn't the bone, and I didn't have insurance. So, just stayed home. Well, I'm starting to eat a bunch of chips and salsa because it's the easiest thing I can eat. And so I started getting heartburn, right? But it's all right, no big deal. Fast forward another month later, and I'm riding my horse, one of my horses, and I've been riding a different one. And so he's a little different in feelings. So I just kind of was like, relax, letting him do his thing. And the son of a buck bucked me off. And so he went to bucking with me and I just checked out. And when I did, my butt hit the saddle and I was like, oh, so the pain in my hips is just from the horse. It's fine. We're good. Right. Well, little did I know, fast forward into, I guess, hang on. Then shit starts getting bad. Life's a little bit rocky, right? This is where I hit my rough spot. We're into October and November, 1st of November. And I don't know what switched, but we went from good to not good. I don't remember. I just remember really not liking myself very much. Really, like, I didn't feel good anymore. I didn't feel like I was capable anymore. I felt like the only relationships I had were falling apart. I felt like I was a burden. Like, I felt like my horse was a burden. I felt like I was a burden, and I became suicidal. This time, guys, remind you that I am still using drugs off and on, right? Like, some days it's all the time. Some days it's not. Some days my body literally was rejecting the drugs. Like, I'd do a line and I swear to goodness, I'd like cough it back out or blow it back out, or like it went in and like went right out my mouth. I can't even make this up, like almost puking it out. It was bad. But so like, and obviously I didn't know this, but my hormones were going like this. So I'm like, one moment I'm great and one moment I'm not. One moment I feel bad and one moment I feel good. And so like I'm having the trauma responses, right? Plus I'm having a hormonal imbalance I don't know about. I become suicidal. I'm laying on my bed on my 28th birthday and I make God a deal. He's got two choices. Now what choice he chooses will determine what choice I make, right? So his first choice is he takes me out of this damn world himself. I'm done. I'm over it. Just take me out, please. Second choice is he gives me my own person for the holidays. And my birthday's in November, so Thanksgiving's just around the corner. And if he doesn't do any of those, well, then I'm going to take myself out. And I'd already planned on how to make it look like a horse accident to take my horse and myself out. I've been riding across the same place. I knew how to get my horse amped up to make him act like an idiot if I really wanted to. Plus I knew I could just probably get high or something and like have the balls or something to do it. I don't even know. Like I was trying to plan it out and go with it. But so all those pains and that heartburn I was feeling, turns out that after a weekend of working mules, and my adrenaline stopping and my body jerking, I birthed a cute little baby boy out in the shower by myself. So like I said, I worked mules and I thought, man, my adrenaline's just worn off and maybe I pulled something because these mules are crazy, like trying to jump over 6-7 foot fences, like they're nuts, right? And I'm out there and I'm like this with them. So I'm just like, I assume that I pulled something. I've already hurt something a couple months ago, right? Like I've already been out for a couple months. My one rib, wasn't really a rib out. It was actually a baby kicking it, but my one rib had been spasming for a few months. So I just assumed that like all of this stuff was that I pulled something. And so I just needed my chiropractor in the morning or whatever. Right. So I'm having these like jerking moments and that's a mess. Like that was a traumatic mess in its own. I don't know what's going on. I'm scared to death. Right. And my son's dad and I are not getting along right now. So I go into the shower and I'm sitting there and I'm like, I don't care if I start it. Please, 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 please let me start my period because it's about my time to have my 3-month cycle. And I'm like, please, well, I don't even care what happens right now. Just anything in the shower. I'm on my hands and my knees. Hot water is hitting me. And I'm like, I don't care. Just God, please help me. Just take me out. Is this what you're doing? Like, is this my deal? Like, is this what I get for the deal I made with you? Is this the way you're going to take me out? Is in so much pain? Like, I don't want to go out in pain. I didn't want you to like make me suffer on my way out the door when I made this deal with you. Like, I mean, I really had that feeling too. Like, I really didn't know. Like, I'm starting to get scared. Like, I'm sorry I made the deal with you. Don't take me out. Like, I mean, it was an array of emotions. I'm out in the truck bawling. Like, it's just a mess. Like, it's a mess of a night because I don't have a clue what's going on. And yeah, so it's a matter of, I don't know what's going on. I'm dying now. He won't let me go to the ER. I'm being dramatic. I'm making this all up. I don't even know, so my emotions are everywhere. So all of a sudden a little head crowns out and I'm like, oh shit. So I reach out because I had my phone by the shower, just happened to have it on the towel right there. And I was like, help, I'm giving birth or I'm having a miscarriage. Doesn't respond. Next thing you know, birthed a little boy out in the shower. No big deal, right? And so I texted him and I was like, help me. I was like, I just had a baby and he didn't answer. So I call him and I'm like, help. I just gave birth in the shower. He's like, what? I'm like, it's a boy, help. And so he comes down there and I'm holding the baby like this. And I'm just like I'm white. They said I'm white, right? Like I'm white. I'm just like, they're scaring me, right? Like I don't even know what to do. I'm in shock. I'm definitely shocked right now. So he goes and wakes his wife up and he tells me, don't tell anyone it's my kid. He goes, just say it was a one night stand. And I'm like, oh God. Okay. So like forever, I'm like going on with the story. Okay. My son's 2 months early. He's healthy though. He's healthy. They take me into the ambulance and they wanted me to breastfeed him. And I was like, let him be close, but I've robbed the cabinet of everything last night. Like Tylenol, Advil, Aleve. I grabbed NyQuil. I grabbed Benadryl, like anything I could grab in there. I grabbed more than I should have of each one. And they were in 2 different like segments of a bunch of stuff. Plus, I knew I'd gotten high the day before. So, yeah, I was like, no. And they're like, okay, so we get to the hospital and, long story short, either my pee or my blood actually popped with meth in it, as it should have. So DHS was involved. Lucky for me, it was only one of the 2, and I did everything and anything they asked me to do. Though I did lie and tell them that it wasn't meth, that it was some, like I'd taken a Loratab that night when I was grabbing stuff. I just grabbed stuff out of the cabinet, right? But I did go through anything and everything they asked me to do, with going and getting evaluated by a drug court guy. I don't remember what he is, but he's like deals with that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And, he cleared me and said, I'm sure like you've admitted to using and stuff, but it wasn't like that's who you are. And so he cleared me, and then having to breastfeed a baby like helped me stay clean, because I was like, no, like that mom switch hit. Like as soon as I put the baby up to me, like my switch hit. I'm a mom. My life is gonna go right. So I went through all that. I went through a baby in the NICU for a month by myself. I brought him home on Christmas Eve. But at the same time, I like kind of had a way to get out, but I did get out. I stayed because I thought my son needed his dad. So fast forward, let's go into the summer of 18, and I'm raising a cute little boy. And so, but I'm sick. Like I'm sick again, right? Like I don't know what's going on. So he won't let me go to the doctor again. He says, you're just making stuff up, but you're probably dehydrated, maybe you got the flu, whatever. Okay. And you got to watch Roper, get somebody else to watch him, whatever. So anyways, now let's fast forward. I ended up leaving him because I got a way out, and I was afraid that he was trying to take my son, my oldest, away from me, and we weren't getting along. We were fighting. So I went and lived with his parents, and that was not all it was cracked up to be. But a couple months later, I found out I have a high-risk pregnancy because my body just hoards them, just likes to hide them, and I'm further in term. So I can't go across the country because I'm in danger of like going in labor on the plane. So I actually was pregnant with a little boy who was 27 weeks. Upset 27 weeks, he could miscarry. So that's a lot. It's a whole that just know, right? Like you just know, like any day you could just miscarry. Like, so here I am, I'm 26 and 5. And like, I don't feel good. I can't feel the baby really moving. He's not moving. I'm sick. I'm coughing a lot. And I called the doctor, and they're like, oh, it's probably just fine. He's probably just moved some. You're fine. If it gets worse, come in. But we just checked you the other day, because I was going in like a couple times a week, and they're like, he's fine. So I just kind of was like, okay. That night, I'm using the restroom, and I feel a foot. So I have to get rushed to the ER because I'm like, this isn't good. So I don't know how, in the grace of God, but I just kept breathing. I grabbed my stuff and just stayed. And I had my son's older brother watch him and call his dad and let him know, like, hey, come get him. I'm going to the ER. So I get rushed to the ER, and I called them and I said, hey, like, I need somebody outside to get me because I'm in labor right now and I already felt a foot. And they're like, oh, okay, whatever. I'm like, no, like this is like someone needs to be there waiting for me. Like I'm almost there. So they get there and they rush me kind of fastish, but not like fast. Like they get me laid down and I'm like, you need to check me like now, please. Like I'm a high risk pregnancy. Like I tried to tell them everything. Finally they check me and they're like, oh man, he's here. So they're watching me and getting me prepped to move me or like get me all checked. The doctor gets there and my son is breached and he is ready to come. So they will rush me over to the OR, which is right next door. They get me in there and they have me almost all prepped for an emergency C-section. And I can't. He's there. Like, I mean, they're walking across the room to hit me. Like, I'm that close. I'm less than 30 seconds away from an emergency C-section. And I have to give birth to my little boy. And the mix of that, it was a little rough because he's breached, right? So they got to like make sure like his feet are in there. He actually came out pretty bruised. His lower half was very bruised, but he's little. And so they're getting me cleaned up and they have him over there on like this little baby. I don't even know what it is. It's almost like a little table just for babies, right? And they're intubating him. Like, I don't really hear him. I couldn't hear him cry for a minute. Like I was really scared. And then he cried but they're like, his oxygen's low. Like he's not breathing real well. They're trying to intubate him. Like, and they take me out of the room. And I have to go down the hall. Like I go get my stuff and I have to go down the hall, like away from him. And I don't know what's going on. I know all they're doing is trying to get him intubated. And they tried a couple of times and it wasn't really working. So I'm like stressing out. I'm all by myself, right? Like all of this is traumatic. You're all by yourself, right? They finally get my son intubated and the children's helicopter's on its way, which thank God. I knew in my heart of hearts, like, thank God, because that's where my oldest was at before, a year before. So, but the doctor that intubated him while we were doing everything comes in and after he gets him intubated and said, you're lucky I was here. If I wasn't here, he wouldn't be alive. And all this was your fault. You should have done stuff differently and this wouldn't have happened. And I was like, you don't even like, I'm crying, like I'm bawling, I'm by myself. I don't have anybody with me. And this guy's an asshole. Like now I can say it, but at the time I was like, I'm a fuck up. I'm a fuck up. You know what I mean? Like I wanted to put my kid up for adoption. Like he deserves a better mom than me. I want to put both kids up for adoption for a second. Cause I'm like, I'm a fuck up. So long story short, like we end up in the NICU for 2 months. And my son was a fighter. I didn't get a hold of him for 2 weeks because he was intubated, but I did get a hold of him and do different techniques. That's a whole nother story that I'm very, very passionate about. But so my son is, 2 months and we get discharged from the NICU, but we are on oxygen. The night before we get discharged, things aren't going right? Like he's not feeling right. And I told him, like, oh no, it's fine. It's just stress. He's fine. Just up his oxygen. He'll be fine. So I listened to him, get discharged, have him home for less than 2 days. And my little boy has to go back to the ER. He gets intubated in the PICU. He's aspirated on formula. It's a mess, right? Like, so my little boy fights for 24 days and I'm with him by his side the whole time. And the doctors were amazing and they worked really hard, but I had to let him go. Probably one of the hardest decisions I ever had to make. And in the mix of that, I had to make sure I had DNA for him on file. After losing my little boy, I am so blessed because I got to do skin to skin therapy. It's called kangaroo therapy. And I did that with him as I let him go. When I was in there by myself, I had some amazing people there with me, friends outside waiting, but in the room by myself, I was there. And it was probably the most reassuring that what I was going through was in alignment to what my message was, back in 2013, right? And I seen Jesus, like I felt my grandma's right there waiting for him. And as his spirit left, I felt like they were reaching down for him. And I literally could see Jesus walking. And mind you, I don't really still have a good relationship, even though I kind of built one in the NICU, but it was out of I need help, God help me. You know what I mean? It wasn't like a real relationship. It was I need help, someone save me kind. You know what I mean?
It was more out of need than want, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So, but I seen him and I'm like, I can't make this up. Like this has to be real. Like I'm sober, you know what I mean? And at this time, it wasn't something that I really felt like I was looking for, And I was told like, everything's going to be all right. It's going to work out. And it's like, that was a comforting feeling, and knowing like what I was going through to help people, like this was all kind of working towards it. And I'm 29 years old, I'm not 30 yet. So it kind of was reassuring, and it kind of helped me like go through it. Right. And I grieved, but I also had to go into complete survival mode, because now I'm moving back across the country. I had a little service for my son. I still have his ashes, but I have to move back across the country with my family. Then I have to go into custody battle with the man that didn't claim our youngest, but wants custody of our oldest. And I just lost a child, and I can't lose another child. So I was blessed that I had to go get professional help to make sure that I was okay to still be a mom. Like, that to prove that the things that were in the court documents weren't true about me. And if they were true about me, then God give me some help so that I don't lose another baby. It's probably the best thing that ever happened to me, because it was help that I've needed from a young age, but I never got. Right. So my oldest saved my life from committing suicide. My youngest helped me find strength and set me in this personal development journey. Both of them together has given me a reason and a why of how I can impact others. And that's why I do what I do.
That is truly an amazing story. I wouldn't believe it unless I'd actually heard it, from you, giving birth in the shower, and then having another one come and having to go through that pain of losing him. There's so much in your story I want to dive into, and it starts all the way back at the very beginning. It's your story's so similar to so many of us, not just women, but men in general. We all have this kind of self-fulfilling prophecy of, we're unworthy, we're not loved, and it just builds on itself over and over, year after year. And for you, it started so early with, telling you, because you're not going to church, you're going to hell, which is just a whole nother story in and of itself, that judgment,
Sure.
religion and judgment. And we're not even going to dive into that. But, the idea is the majority of us are all programmed at such a young age. That 5, 6, 7, 8 years old is such an important time. And I think science is showing now how important it really is, and the words that people use and the actions. But, prior to this day and age, people didn't correlate the two and didn't realize just that little, one thing that your father or your mother could say to you in the wrong way can have a trajectory on your life that just sends you into this spiral for years and years. And lucky for you, you found a way to break free at 30, but you spent 30 years of your life, doubting yourself, hating yourself, abusing yourself, any which way you could to find love. You were with these guys, which I think is so, prevalent out there for women, because for men, most of us, we can go out, we can make something, and provide if it's just us. But women, especially when you have kids, it's hard to go anywhere. It's hard to leave. I think in talking with you before, you said getting out is hell, for women in these situations. And you find yourself just doing whatever needs to be done, cleaning, taking care of the house, just giving all your love to this person. And all they give you back is abuse. And it's just a repetitive cycle, but it doesn't seem like there's any way out. So, I think your story, your journey has such potential to impact so many women that are stuck and afraid and don't know. I mean, shit, for most women, it's just the idea of leaving is so traumatic and so hard for them. You didn't just leave. You had to deal with a baby being born in the shower, thinking about planning your own suicide, losing another child. You've had all these traumas pile up on you. And I really believe that's what makes us so much stronger. That's what allows us to keep fighting and gives us our purpose in life. Most most of us are afraid to dive into the dark parts, to that trauma,
So it's scary,
because
right?
it's
You don't want to
terrifying.
relive it. Reliving it's hell.
It's
Like
terrifying. I've
it's
done so
you
much.
relive it, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've come from, abandoned at birth. I was abused sexually as a child. I was drugs, alcohol, sexual addictions. I tried to kill myself multiple times. The furthest I ever got was waking up in the ICU, the next day, right before my 21st birthday, having tried to take my own life. The doctor said, 30 minutes longer and my kidneys, everything would have basically shut down, exploded. I'd be dead, but it's those dark areas that we each have to go down in order to start seeing the light. So
So
I
true. I
really,
mean, look at you now. You would never have thought that unless you told us, right? And
absolutely,
that's the thing, is unless we tell you, you don't always know. And I think that's what's intimidating to some people, right? Like some people who are on this journey are stuck and are in these relationships or have been through them. I know for me, like I thought I'm the only one that's going through this. Like this is my own shit show
right,
and it's my fault. And nobody else in this world's going through this because people don't know. And I love that you're sharing your story too. And I love that I get to share mine because my goal is that people can hear that and can hear other people in my life that have been through it. And they're like, you know what? They did it.
right.
You
We're
are
not
not
we're not
alone.
alone, especially for women out there. You're
Yeah.
not alone, because
Yes.
so many are going through this in one shape or form or another, and it's to have that voice, to have your voice there to help these people, help these women understand that there are ways out, that there are alternatives, and life gets so much better. I know for me, doing the
Yes.
deep, dark, heavy work and the tears and the pain that came from it has opened doors that were just, I could never have imagined even
No.
just 3, 4 years ago. And now it's like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing I
So
ever
true.
did. But it's just taking the action. Like you have to commit and want to heal. You have to commit and want to get better. For me,
So
I when I really started healing, I could go back and start to put together the pieces of everything that's happened to me in my life. And it all began to make sense. Like I could understand now why certain things had to happen the way they had to happen. I don't blame people. I don't get angry at them. I don't blame myself either. That's part of my journey to bring me to this point. And your journey as well is it's the same thing. You had to go through that hell, you had to go through that pain to break free. I love
so
the idea of living in grace, basically. It's many people might say losing a child is the most horrific thing you could ever imagine. I don't ever want to imagine it. I've got two of my own. So it's like, I just pray for their health and safety always. But if something happens to them, you can look at it and you can choose to look at it in the negative. Why did this happen to me? I hate you, God. How could you do this? Or you can really start to see the grace and the beauty that life is, and that you were given that gift, if only for a short time. And now you get to look back on it, and it's created the woman that you are. It's given you strength that you never knew you even possessed, just in so much strength just in your pinky, let alone your whole body. And it's like you are a force to be reckoned with now
that's so
because of
true.
what you've gone through.
So true.
So,
I have to say, like, I didn't realize it, but while I was in the NICU or in the PICU with my son, like it was hard. Like it was really hard. It was really scary. A lot of who I had with me there were friends that I made in the hospital, right? But I remember like one day and I was gonna go see my oldest, and they were like, "Oh yeah, he's doing fine. He was going through some, like go see your son. You need to go see your son." So just got over to my friend's house. Like, I'm gonna take a shower because I'm gonna go to the train station the next day, all this kind of stuff. And you get a phone call that I need to come back to the hospital. I knew something was wrong. Like, every fear in your body. Like, I'm like, oh no, my son's dead. Son haven't had a pneumothorax, which is where the air leaks out of his lungs. I remember walking into the PICU, like we're hurrying to get there. My friend was with me. We're hurrying our butts to get in there. And I walk in and I open the doors and it's like a little horseshoe, right? Like there's a door over here, horseshoe door. My son's right in the back middle. And I walk in and all the nurses are in my son's room. All of them. Doctors are all in there. Everybody's in there around my son's table. And my son's not very big. So to have that, oh my, yeah, it's not good, right?
Right.
And my heart drops. I walk over there and it's like a calm came over me. I've had to relive this moment a few times to replay it, so it's a little bit easier for me to process now. But I remember sitting there and like I walk up and the doctor's like, you might need to sit down for this. Literally made me sit down in a chair to tell me that my son might not make it, that he has pneumothorax, and because he is so swollen from all the fluid, why they were trying to fight RSV and stuff, that he just may not make it. Like they need to go in and they need to hit between his little tiny ribs because he was 5.9 pounds when he left the NICU a couple days before, right?
Right.
And so they tell me they got to go through, and if they hit a rib, it could kill him. And I'm broken. I'm scared. And she's like, we've got an x-ray. We're getting all this. I called the other doctor, the main doctor, the head doctor of the whole PICU. He's on his way, but if he can't get here fast enough, I'm gonna have to do it. But I want you to know what can happen. And I looked at her and I said, you can do it. I believe in you. And I looked at everybody in that room and I thanked them for what they were doing. My son's on the table fixing to die. Like he could die at any second. And all I remember is like feeling blessed that I had him for as long as I had, because he could have been a miscarriage to 27 weeks. And in so much gratitude for each and every person there. I even thanked the x-ray technician as he was walking out the door. You know what I mean? Everyone was in such a panic and in such a, like, all I could think of was gratitude for them and how much I appreciated them. And wasn't a dry eye in the room after I said that, but like everyone wanted to fight for my son, but I believed that in them because I was so grateful. So I was blessed with every day over 27 weeks I had with my son.
Wow. Yeah, I love the story of you walking through the desert, and seeing God, having it all kind of revealed to you. I had a similar situation, when I was at my lowest point I'd been at in so many years. And I just didn't understand, like how does this play into my journey? What, I got angry at God, like, what the hell? This is bullshit. Why are you doing this to me? What purpose does this serve in my mission here? And it was that moment that I let go and I just accepted that I had no control over it. And I just asked God, show me why, just what is the purpose? And it was just like you were given a sign, you were given a message. For me, it was revealed to me kind of what the future had in store, and I could see the end, but I didn't know how I was going to get there. All the middle is some scary stuff, but it was that faith. It was just that letting go and trusting in God to do what has to be done, because this is our mission. This is our story, our journey. So we have to shape it. We have to live it and play it out however it's going to play out. We don't get the gift of seeing in advance how it's going to work. And, with your son in the NICU there, and just having to have that faith, you knew it was going to be all right. And whatever happened was going to happen the way it had to, but you just didn't know. So you gave all the doctors, you just put all your faith in God. And I love that. I love that whole just letting go of it. It's really beautiful. And I can see that you've found a lot of peace with it now, you know, and I think
Really have.
that's been from knowing you, that's really what's propelling you now, you know, in what you're doing to help other women. You've got, let's talk a little bit about the horse to heart connection, because that's something that you're super proud of, you know. I
I
mean,
know.
that's like your mission at this point, and I can't wait to have you share some of that, because horses are just so amazing creatures and they can help us heal. So why don't you give us some information about the power of horses and what they do, what they can do for us?
So I'm super excited that I am starting my Horse to Heart Connections events. And I am so passionate about this because horses are what got me through a lot, right? Like, yes, they're also the thing that was sending me to hell, right? So like there's some things there, but it's what, like, because of that, I think it's what helped me find the power in it. And especially now that I've worked through a lot of this, so much there, right? Like when I didn't have anybody, I had my horses. I could cry on their shoulder and it felt like they knew me. When I was super suicidal, I swear one of my retreat horses, he's my main horse. He's actually my son's horse now, but he's also a retreat horse. I swear to you, I'm pretty sure he knew I was going to commit suicide because I was feeling down, and or I was going to sell him because if I sold him, then I could commit suicide, like, or I could get out. Like there was a mix, and it's like he would look deep in my soul, and his eye connection with mine, even from across the pen, was like this. Like I can't even explain it. It was really like it just hit me, and it hit like right into me and right into my heart, and just like helped heal it. And so through all of my stuff that I've been through and through what I've learned with horses, I wanted to give that back because when I feel like shit, that's what I go do. I go and brush on my horses. I go and love on my horses. And because of my gift with horses, I'm able to help other people because as those horses are loving on you. So say you came to the retreat, okay? My horses are awesome, and whatever needs pulled out of you is probably going to come out of you. And they'll let you love on them, right? And you can hug them and you can brush them and you can just even just hold your hand up on them to gain that trust and breathe with them, right? And they
Mm-hmm.
can feel your energy. Like they are so like sensitive to energy. It's amazing. But because of my connection with those horses, I somehow like know what you need, like why you're here. Now, like for example, when I worked at my last job, I didn't know like what all the reasons the kids were at the there for at the treatment facility. Like I didn't know, but I could get a basic information like you're dealing with like anxiety, depression, self-doubt, or you got anger issues we need to work on, right? Like different things like that will come up through the horse and they'll help bring that out, right? Same with healing. Like, are you needing a little extra love? Are you needing a little extra this? Like, it comes out with them. And that's what I'm so grateful for, right? So, my horses have trauma stories. I have a trauma story. You have a trauma story. So, I tell you my horse's trauma story and we talk about it for a minute and elaborate a little bit on it, you know, and like really get you thinking. What if you could do anything for that horse during its trauma story? Anything for it. Doesn't matter money. It doesn't matter time. It doesn't matter like anything. Like they can hear you. They can understand you. You can do anything right now. There's nothing impossible. But what would you do for that horse? What would you tell them? What would you show them? All of that. Like dive deep, right?
Hmm.
Into that horse. And as we get and we bring some more stuff out and we work through it and we help bring that out, we flip it back around. Why don't you give yourself that same love through your trauma story
Hmm.
and
That's
help see that growth? And for me, that's power, right? Like that's power because you dropped your walls and you have that horse. You want to cry. My horse is right there. They'll let you cry on them, I promise.
that's amazing. That's so beautiful. The power of horses. I've always been drawn to them my whole life. I live in Kansas, but I don't have the ability to go out and ride horses. It's not like
Right.
we see in the movies. You know, we don't just have horses and cows everywhere. So, we're actually a real city. So, just that intuitive nature of horses has always been such a draw for me. It's like you said, looking in their eyes, they literally, it's like they can see into your soul and they can see, that pain. They can see what's inside that we can't see a lot of times.
So true.
You know,
So
that-
true.
it's really something magical about them, and that connection, that you can get with a horse. I've seen it in so many movies, and you know, learned about it, how they're so intuitive, they can run across the field at full speed and never hit that hole, even though there's holes everywhere. It's like they almost have psychic sonar abilities.
For sure. For
Like
sure.
they're just so sure footed and steady, and they're going to protect you, and they're not going to let you fall. When you have that connection, I think of the movie Avatar, when they connect, when they take their tail and they connect to their dragons or any
Yes,
other
for
animals.
sure.
Like I imagine that with a horse, where when you're on a horse, you don't become you and the horse, you become one
Yes.
together with the horse, and now you're breathing and feeling and seeing and experiencing through that horse. So I mean, it's really, I think there's so much power there. I think you've got
There
something
really is.
so cool that people will really benefit from. I wish you the best of luck in
I
that.
appreciate that.
Anything that I can do to help you with the horse to heart connection, I'd love to help you out with it, because I see where it can go and what it can do. So I love it, you know.
That would be amazing. I would love to have you there. I think it would be phenomenal. And I need people like that, right? Like I create magic with horses and I know that. And I want to be able to put my energy more in just the horse part, not worrying about like the other modalities, right? Like,
Mhm.
because you got to have a little bit more.
Well, I tell you
You
what,
get a
my
feeling, right?
yes, yes, absolutely. I know my wife and I were thinking about maybe planning a Vegas trip towards the end of the summer. So if we make
Perfect.
it out there this year, we definitely will hit you up and come
Perfect.
see the horses, and see the power that they have. So we got time for one final question that I ask every guest. And since this show focuses on creating your own reality, I want to ask you, if you had the ability at the snap of a finger right now to create any reality, perfect, ideal, whatever that would be, what reality would you create and why?
So definitely, I just feel like adventure and like doing what I love with my son and being present, right? Like being present. It doesn't matter what I'm doing, like not worrying about my finances or worrying about like I gotta go do this or I gotta worry about that, like creating this where I have everything where I just can be present in the moment. I get to enjoy the moments and create memories that are bold and adventurous and fun because my son and I both are like that. Like we both love that kind of stuff. So it's just being present. Like that's my biggest goal, is just being present and shining light.
And I love that. I get so many people on the show, and they always talk about, if you could create anything, most people want to create like peace and harmony in the new world and just everything being perfect, which is amazing. Like I too want that, but
Right.
you're the first person I've had on that's hit the nail on the head, so to say, with not worrying about the exterior and how things will be versus bringing it into the present and just living here, enjoying life. It's what we're here for, to
For
enjoy
sure.
life, to experience the joys, the beauty, the traumas, to experience life and be present. You spent so much time, and I did too, running from our trauma, running from the demons, filling our, bodies with alcohol and drugs and anything to quiet, anything to get us out of the present. And I think
Yes, for
that's the
sure.
biggest,
For sure.
probably the biggest takeaway. One of them I've learned over the years is to embrace the present. Don't be afraid of it. Too many people spend too much time in the future or living in the past, which is common. But to be present, I think that's a gift. And you've definitely figured out how to tap into that. So just
Thank you. I
the joy,
appreciate that.
your energy, your light shining bright. So keep shining, keep doing what you're doing, because I know you're helping people, and you're helping women
I
across the
appreciate that.
world that need a voice, need a partner, need somebody by their side to help guide them and get them out of that situation they might be in. So
I love that you say that, because I really feel like, you know, you may not be a child that's fighting for their life, but I know how to fight by your side. And you need someone to help fight for your life. Because you may not be dying per se, but in the ways we almost are when we're not fighting for ourselves, right? Like, I wish I had had somebody fighting by my side when I was going through it.
Right.
So I have that, all that stuff I learned through fighting by my son's side, and that just and that's who I am. And so I'm grateful that I get to give that back to other people, right?
Right. I usually would ask any last words before we finish up, but I think that summed it up
It
beautifully.
sums it up.
That was awesome. And, just keep fighting and fighting for those that need it, that need the help, that aren't strong enough or don't know that they need the help. That's what you're there for.
100%.
So Dusty, how can people find you? Where can they reach out if they want to learn more about Horse to Heart Connection, follow you on Facebook?
Perfect. Yeah, I'm on Facebook and Instagram. You can find me there, and you can find me on both just Dusty Simmers, or you can actually find me. I'm very active on the Love and Light to the World. We're on Facebook and Instagram as well. And that's where Horse to Heart Connections is coming through. So we have a lot of amazing stuff there, but that's the best place to learn more about Horse to Heart Connections as well.
Fantastic. And I'll put the links in the comment box below for the show so people can find you. I want to thank you so much, Dusty, for taking the time to join me today. And of course, a huge thank you to everybody watching. If you like this interview, please make sure to hit the thumbs up button. If it resonated with you, share it with your friends, your family, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any new videos, any new interviews that come out. And last but not least, until next time, until we talk again, stay blessed. And remember to always ask yourself, what reality are you choosing to create today? Bye now.